Awesome. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the last of our 4 free training webinars held by Cheaper Diesel Spares. Just as an introduction for those of you who are new, we sell diesel parts such as injectors, pumps, suction control valves, EGRs, and we also provide technical advice over the phone at no cost. It's through providing advice over the phone that we realised as a company that there is a lack of training available in the industry at the moment. Today we'll be focusing on injector removal and inspection. This webinar, similar to the previous ones, will be interactive, and you will be able to ask your questions through the chat during the video. We're not be enabling video or audio recordings for viewers, as these videos will be added to our website in the future. We're sorry if we don't get to your questions today, but if you do feel as though you still have questions at the end, feel free to email us and we can reply anytime. We're just going to quickly pause the video recording just to try and get the picture to sit better for you guys. Awesome. I think we're all good now. Right from there.
Good afternoon, guys. What we're going to have a look at today is checking injectors, something that you think might have a fault with it, and actually doing some tests on the vehicle. And when we've got the injectors out, testing them before we send them off to have them tested if we can't find the fault. Doing as many tests on the vehicle and when the injector's out as we can. First thing we're going to do today, we're just going to have a look at what tools we're going to use to do this. Most of them are a cheap tool or a workshop tool, or the multimeters or something, but we'll have a look at them. First thing, it's a puller, and it's made to pull the copper washers out. Even if they're carboned into the bottom of the cylinders, instead of going with a screwdriver all the time, it's quite a good device and it works a lot of the times. Screw it in, slide hammer out. The only ones this doesn't work on is if you've noticed some of the washers have a cutout on the inside diameter. Sorry, but I'm a few technical issues today. I'll just quickly start again and run through it again. So what we'll be having a look at today is the injectors. A slide hammer to take your washers out. Saves you loads of time messing about. Your protective caps, I know a lot of guys got them last week, so no dust goes in the injectors. We've got a multimeter, vernier gauges, steel ruler, and we have injector well cleaner. This allows us to clean all that carbon out of your cylinders. When you look down, all the carbon out very, very quickly. So we're not messing about for another half an hour cleaning all the carbon out. All good. Let's start with these injectors. Let's have a look at a few different ones and which ones you're going to have different problems with. So we'll start with one of the earliest ones, which is a Bosch injector. I'm sure you've all come across here. You have the steel clip that fits through there for the leak off. They're a really good injector, one of the first injectors that were put in common rail. Issues we have with these, if the washer blows, getting the injectors out. I have got a slide hammer for these, but it does involve taking the cap off the top, fitting the slide hammer and pulling it out. 9 times out of 10, you'll wreck the injector taking it out. But we'll probably find when you're taking these out, it's all burnt on the bottom of the injector. The injectors needs replacing anyway. Or the Delphi type of injector. This is fitted to a lot of the Korean cars and quite a few of the Holdens now as well. This injector, no dust anywhere near it, not half as hard wearing as the Bosch one. Any air in your system, you're going to wreck this injector. So bleeding must be done, and we must keep all caps tight on these injectors at all times. These are the ones that will cost you some money. Got to do a fuel filter, it could end up in needing injectors. Be very careful with these. Last week we spoke about a little bit on the fuel pump. If you do manage to get crap in them, you can always pull your fuel pump wire off, crank it over and put loads of pressure through, see if you can clean them. And that's the one that we were talking about. Yeah, that's one. We've got a Denso injector. These are fitted to a lot of your Toyotas, your Nissans, Holdens, quite hard wearing injector. But yet again, if you get one really stuck in, the cap's coming off to extract it, and you could well wreck the injector. And we'll just go on to some slightly different ones now. Piezo, these are the injectors. We're never going to take the wires off. If you take the wires off when it's running, you could possibly get a problem, and it will inject all the fuel out of the bottom into the cylinder with no wire on. So the piezo requires power on, the injector will open. If you remove the power, it'll stay open, and then another power to close it. Piezo means push. So what you do every time you give it power, it pushes it one way and then pushes it back the other way. Yeah. So if you see this on the side of a Bosch injector and it has a clip, 2-piece clip on it, that's piezo. Don't take the wires off. Yeah. Piezo again. If you ever get the ones with the steel clips through the side that looks like this one, they're all piezo. Volkswagen, the new Ford Ranger, some of the new Transits, a lot of the Peugeot, Citroens are using this injector. Yeah, quite a good injector, but be careful, no wire taking off again on that one. This is a bit different, this one. And it's the only one that we don't get blowing washers on, because we've got a nut that we screw it down with here. So the full force of our clamp is going straight on that washer all the way around. Unlike a clamp from one side, which will naturally pull it to one side, the beauty of that one is it's got this thread on here and it pulls it down square. It's very rare you see these ones blow or do anything. They have other problems with the solenoids, but for blowing washers, these are probably the best ones. Right. Let's get on to doing the testing. Let's see what we can test on the vehicle. So we get a fault, we think it might be an injector. Last week we went across testing with our leak-off kit. So we're not going to go over that again. The first test we'll do, we'll put our buckles on, test the leak off, see if it's all level. Yeah. Quite a few people after last week have emailed me, what are we supposed to get on the return? The injectors vary from injector to injector, normally about 10 mil over 1 minute. We can go up to 15 mil, 20 mil over 1 minute if it's got a little bit of wearing, doesn't really give us a problem. If we're getting up to 40 mil or something like that, then we're going to get an issue. Sorry about that. So, leak off test first, then what else test can we do? So we'll grab an injector. Let's see what we've got. So we've got this one, piezo. So we want to first one thing, we can check the electronics when it's on the vehicle. So very awkward to get in here. These repair kits are brilliant. You can buy one repair kit that'll do 90% of the injector testing, and what we do, we cut all the outside away from this. So we're left with just the two terminals surrounded by the plastic, and then we'll find when you put it in there, it'll fit on, but this inside bit stays behind, and it'll fit onto this one. It'll fit onto your Denso ones. It'll fit onto your other Bosch one. So if we can buy one of these, cut it up, keep it in our toolboxes. The suction control valves we spoke about on the fuel pumps, it'll fit into them as well. And all we're going to do, we're going to just put two, I can leave them bare on the ends. You can put your test equipment on there. Do whatever you want with it on the ends. But we've got a wire, so we can put it on the injector. We're not messing about trying to get in, not knowing if we're in. We'll do that. So let's have a look what we can test on this. So we'll pick an injector out, which is a piezo. Yeah, if it weren't piezo, all that's put away. We've got these two wires now. If you just hold that there, Katie. So when we're testing these piezos, they're different to the electronic injectors. We want to have a multimeter that has a Farad symbol on it, a symbol like this. The next time you're buying a multimeter, I'll have a look and if it's got this symbol on it. Because if not, we can't test these. But a multimeter, it's something you use all the time. I'm sure it's not a big deal to get one. But when you get one with a Farad on it. The first thing we'll do, we'll go onto the two wires. Yeah, just exactly the same as you do in a test. Check for Farads. I know everybody's going to say, what readings do we want? Yeah. You've got four other injectors in that cylinder. I've never seen a one cylinder common rail. So if you think one injector, you've got a fault code coming up for one injector, just take the readings off your other three. Yeah. Using this method with the lead on, it's quite easy to do. We're going to just put it on all three. Take your readings off all four. If you're getting, for an average one of these Farads, you might be 3,500. So if you get 3,500, 3,500, 3,500, 7,000, and your machine's saying there's a problem with that injector, already you know that injector's faulty. Yeah? So what else can we do with this? So we've done our Farad test. On a solenoid injector, like these ones, we'd be doing a resistance test. Yeah, I think everybody can do that. And then compare again, you've got three good ones. So we can just use that and then we know exactly what the figure is that we're supposed to get. Then the next one, so we'll have a look at, we'll just go back to a solenoid injector. But you can do this on piezo or solenoid, this next test. Well, one of the common problems is with these injectors is the electrics inside get crap behind them and everything, and then your voltage will jump to these side walls. These ones do it all the time. They'll get some dampness inside here, run down inside, and then every time you give it a pulse, jumps to earth, and you get this fault code for injector, injector, injector. So we need to test that. If we test it with resistance from either of the plugs to the wall, sometimes we see a result. But sometimes we need a high voltage to test that. So we'll go back to that, okay? That one first. So we'll use this meter by Nosh. And what this does, it allows us to put 100 volts through the injector. So we'll plug it in there, and then we'll go on to both. I check both wires in there, 100 volts, and then I'm watching on the gauge if it is actually jumping from the solenoid from the solenoid to this part here. When I give it 100 volts, inevitably, it's only a short distance, some are going to jump. So it all depends about the figures I get on that machine, whether it's good or bad. But it's quite simple to do. And 100 volts normally doesn't jump. On a really good injector, it won't jump. If it jumps a little bit, but looking at the figures on this again, you can compare it with your other ones. If you get one wrong, the other three are good. You can do that test again. So we can do that test as well. and that's even before we take the actual injectors out. Piezo, exactly the same for the 100 volt test. Yeah, if I put 500 volts in there, it would jump every time. So we're just putting 100 volts in, try and get it to jump, looking at our figures, compare them on the thingy. That is that particular machine that I'm using today is a Bosch FSA 050. There's other ones on the market. I can't find one that does farads and this and the resistance all together. Unfortunately, we're testing injectors this afternoon, so I've had to leave it only looks like a multimeter though with a farad symbol on. I've had to leave that there at the workshop. So now I think we're done in testing all the tests we can do on the actual car. Now we're going to remove some of these injectors and then see what we can do when they're out. Common one is blowing washers. No, you can't do a resistance check on the piezos. Try and do it, it doesn't work. You have to do the check with the farad meter. It doesn't work. On the other solenoid ones, you're fine, but with the piezo ones, it has to be with that farads. I have tried. Somebody said it wouldn't work, it didn't work. So, taking the injectors out, we'll get the injector out. We're going to use a slide hammer if it's all carboned up, something like that. Your injector bolts are holding it in, inspect them, check the lengths. It could be that the bolt's been put back in 3 or 4 times and it's lost its stretch. Yeah, especially Mercedes and things like that, 6mm thread on. They're going to, after a bit, they're going to use the stretch. You put them back in and it'll blow again. Yeah, so get the injector out, all the holes full of carbon. You can't see your washer. It might have gone, your washer, it might not even be there no more. If you have enough heat on these and you run them long enough, you won't find your washer no more. It's gone. So don't think, when you take them out, I take them out very slowly, look at the end straight away for the washer, and then put them on the bench. If the washer's not there, and it's not in that hole, I know it's burnt away. You'll get loads of carbon when the washer's burnt away though. So we've had to slide hammer it out, we get it out. Yeah, so first test we do, just simple micrometer. Everybody will have one of these. So we're going to measure the actual tip there. So we measure this tip, this one's 6.6. So what measurement should it be? Measure it on the end. The end very rarely changes, and if it changes on the end, it'll be right on the bottom. So measured it there, 6.6, measured it right on the end, 7. So we've lost nearly 0.5 mil. The washer's blown on it. So when we put our new washer on this, it's going to be loose already, and it's got a cavity for the heat to come up and burn the new washer. So if you're getting a vehicle, you're putting washers in all the time, every 6 months the washer goes, check your verniers, put them on there and there, and you're going to have 0.5 mil difference. I've seen a lot more than 0.5 mil, but 0.5 mil, probably 0.3 of a mil, you start getting problems. So let's check them, then check it. If it's gone there, don't bother sending it to me, because I'm going to tell you it's failed. So you save yourself $40 and check it yourself there. Yeah, when they come out, just tell the customer, useless, it'll blow again. If he doesn't want to pay for it, put your new washers in, put it back on. When it blows it again, just charge him again. Yeah. So I'll get all these connectors together. Right, cleaning. We'll go back to this one here. When you get one of these, if you bend the wires over slightly, you allow cleaning on the side of the sleeve and on the bottom. Yeah, I think everybody has done who have sold one of these too. We've chopped it off here, we put a nut on top so we can use it on our air ratchets or something like that. A completely carboned up cylinder on that, probably about 20-30 seconds, and all the carbon's off. If it is quite like badly carboned up in the cylinder, what I normally do, I've got a little steel plate, it's about the size of a 5-cent coin. I'll throw it down the hole first, and I'll go up and down, I'll do all the wall first, then I'll hold my screwdriver on it and blow it all out, blow all the crap back out, so all that carbon isn't going to your cylinder. Inevitably, when you're cleaning these out, some carbon is going to go into the cylinder, but as least as we can going into the cylinder. But you don't understand that, you just throw some at the bottom, up and down with that. When you're going to blow it, put a long screwdriver down and blow it back up, your magnet in, pull it out. So your little plate you can use again. Yeah, all good with that. The seats, very, very important, especially if somebody has been there before and cut any of the seats. This is a massive no-no. Don't cut the seats unless somebody's been there with a screwdriver and put a big groove in it. Then let's have a look at this diagram. Let's see what's going to happen with this, with the washers. And this is not just cutting seats, it's washer sizes. So don't go to your box and get, oh, them washers look good and put them in, because this is going to happen. If we have a look here, this is it's a kind of drawing. So we've got this one here that's stuck through too far. That's the head, and it's how far the nozzle sticks through. If somebody's cut the seat and put the genuine washers back in, or you've got a vehicle in and somebody's done it before, you put the genuine washers back in, your nozzle's going to stick through too far, and then it's going to spray onto your piston, but at the wrong point on your piston. And then 6 months later, you might get piston failure. It's spraying at the wrong point on your piston on number one. If it's done it on number one, all the other three might be all right. So what's going to happen to your compensation values, what we spoke about the other week, on your computer, it's going to show one injector's running slightly out all the time. And it might be somebody's cut the seat. Shit, how can we check this all the time? The steel ruler, easiest thing to check. So when the injectors are all still in, just put it across the top of them. Yeah, if one of them's got a gap in it, there's something wrong with that cylinder. So when we take them all out and every washer's right and everything like that, we put that across, and that one's number two, say number two is lower, either the washer's the wrong size or somebody's cut the seat. So if that happens, what we need to do is put the feeler gauges under this until we get the same, we'll get a number, say it's 0.4 of a mil. Then ring me up, order a washer, 3 good ones and 1.4 mil bigger. So we're compensating for somebody cutting the seat. Yeah, just hope he's not cut 4 seats, because then you are in trouble. So we can always look at the other injectors to compensate and do it that way. What happens? So we've got this one, that's going at the wrong piston side. It's hitting the piston at the wrong time all over and over again. If it's bad enough, it will cause your piston to destroy. The second one, that's probably correct. They just stick out a little bit, no combustion chambers on these things no more, and that is, the design of the engine is made for that height, to stick out that far, to spray on the pistons at that particular place. So obviously we'll go to the other scenario now. So we've got one here, and somebody has just grabbed some copper washers and they put washers in that are too thick. So what's going to happen there? It's going to still spray, because it's just sticking out. It's going to still spray, but it's going to spray on the top of the piston now, and in the wrong part. Probably send your compensation values out, won't run quite right. Yeah. Further again, what happens if somebody's left the washer in because it's carboned up and they can't really see it, and then on these ones, the very early ones had an aluminium washer on. It looks like the head. We're very wary of that 4 transits. They do that. So this one here has got 2 washers on, and we can just see a drip, drip, drip coming down. So what's happening there? The injector's firing it into the cylinder head. and then it's just dropping down on the piston. You're going to get a lot of white smoke and things like that. Yeah, that one is probably the safest one because you're not going to drive around with all these clouds of white smoke. And that, so really these ones here, they'll drive around for 6 months until something gets destroyed in his engine. So very, very important to check the heights of these injectors, check the washers are right. A lot of the times when I'm thinking, has somebody done something with this engine? Have they cleaned all four up? Have they ground all four? You can look for telltale signs. I'm just trying to get one here for you. That's a good telltale. You can even see it there. There's a worm mark. Keep your old injectors. Don't throw them away. Now, if you get injectors from me, you can do whatever you want with your old injectors. There's not many of them we ask for back because they're all brand new. They're not reconditioned. So look for these worm marks. If you've got a feeling somebody's put all four, grab one of your old ones out, compare it. If that worm mark's changed, you possibly would be right. Yeah. Another trick, my favourite one is somebody's took a set of four out, they put new washers in, they put the injectors back in, no power in the car. Right, it's just useless, but it's not bringing up any fault codes whatsoever. And I found it quite amazing the year when we found out what was going on with these, is this injector will take, probably getting on for 30,000 PSI, probably 600-700 temperature, but it will not tolerate a buffing wheel or a wire brush. So if somebody's got these out, we've buffed all the ends of them, put them back in, we've made a really nice job of it, we've cleaned we've used this wire brush to clean inside, we've cleaned everything up, they put them back in, the car's going to start up, it's going to probably have 3/4 of the power. It's going to idle all right, because your ECU will compensate for that all the time. But when they try and drive it, it's going to be really down on power, and it's only because you put it on a wire brush and buff it. It's amazing, they'll take all the heat, pressure, they will not take anything to do with the wire brush. So let's have a look. What can we see on our computer that will tell us this has happened? And like, if somebody tells you what the fault is and what's happened, you're going to take them out and send them to me. Can you test these? But there must be something on the computer that we can see that's telling us this has happened. So we look at fuel quantity. And this is how much the ECU is letting how much fuel the ECU has calculated that's going through that injector. So what would happen? It runs fine, it's got a blowing washer. So we take all the washers out, and it will have a figure, when you put your scan tool on it, called fuel quantity. This figure it's not read on the car, it's a few different things put together that makes this figure up. And then the fuel quantity is the fuel pressure, the fuel temperature, the opening time of the injector, all them things put together, and the ECU says that's what fuel quantity is going through them injectors. So what we had probably about 6 weeks ago now, the Nissan, I think they were a 2010 black pen, Patrol. Exactly this happened. So I thought, let's have a look at it and see if we can actually see this on the scan tool. Another vehicle here, and what I noticed was this fuel quantity. It was reading 8. That's what I'm reading. Have you got the other pen? Can you just put these numbers down? So it was reading 8 on idle for the fuel quantity. Every time you go on these vehicles now, you scan tool, quickly look down, fuel quantity. When the engine's warm, not when it's cold. Yeah, and just have a quick look at these figures. Keep them in your mind what the figures are, especially on idle. 8. Yeah, so the one that had no power was 16. It jumped up to 16. So what the ECU had done, 8 is right, everything is right on that particular vehicle. All these vehicles are going to vary, and what scale they're going to read in are going to vary. So it had 8 on idle, the ECU had to put more and more fuel in to get it working because the holes had closed over. So if you had done that with an old non-Camarel engine, you'd have kept turning the fuel up on the fuel pump and it would have compensated for that. But on this, you can't do that. So then it jumped up to 16. So what the ECU had done is he said 8. Nah, it doesn't like idle. As soon as it started, it was, no, I have to give it more fuel. And then the computer will put it up to 16, but it didn't make a fault code for it. Never makes a fault code for this. So what we need to do is every time we look at these vehicles now, the good ones, look at this number. I think Bosch systems, they're all in between 5 and 8. If you get in up near 16 or anything like that, then you can see that there's something going wrong on this, and it thinks it's putting a lot more fuel in. It's not, because the holes are closed up that much, you can't get the fuel in. So it still can't get the amount in. It only goes back to where it was, but it thinks it's putting a lot more in. So that's a thing we have to always look at, even if we're looking for a down on power problem. If it's not your turbo and nothing to do with the air system, then this figure's going to be wrong from a normal one. The only thing is with this figure, it's a calculation of all different measurements. So we can't just go and replace parts. When we know this is out, then we have to start looking further and further into things. Yeah, well, good. We will take a few questions today on anything to do with these injector removal or anything like that. One guy, yeah. Dave O, I presume you called Dave. I'm still learning the language. So Dave O, he's got a Ford Transit. I know that, yeah, we're on with this one day. We just looked at it. He's got a Ford Transit. It's a motorhome, and he has to replace the injectors twice in a year because of electronic failures. The same, yeah. Whoever he bought them off has told him he's had water in them. And we know exactly where you're up to, Dave. This is actually, that might be the same injector. So these are the ones with the really good clamps that would clamp down. Let's have a look. See this line here? This is a giveaway, Dave. See that line there? That's where your rubber seal fits for your rocker cover. And if you can see on this bit above that, you can't see on here, it's all rusty. Yeah? So, the Transit injector, you know, you've got that one. I want you to get them injectors out, Dave, the ones that you've replaced, and I want you to do a resistance check. I know you won't have one of the meters, just do a resistance check from there to the outside of the body, and you're going to find that it's jumped, and we'll show you why, Dave. Dave, oh, sorry. So, the Transit, yeah. You look at this, it's a natural bath for the Transit. So we'll bathe our injectors in some water. And what happens is, so your injector's sat in there, you probably leave this parked up for a long time, and we'll have a look at this first and we'll tell you what's wrong with this. So the injector sits there and we can see the seal is there, that far away from the electronics. On all these plugs, you can see this, but just have a look at them yourself. They have rubbers in here. So if you clean them all out, the rubber should protect it. It's a water splash resistant cap. It's not a waterproof cap. So what happens when it rains on your Transit? And when you go back to this, you're going to see a tag line. You're going to see a tag line where the water was sat in this thing where they fit the injectors in. The water's filled up, and where the solenoid is there, because it's only a splash resistant cap, the bits of water have got to these electrodes. As soon as a little bit gets in there and that electrode starts working, it'll just create absolute dramas. Yeah. So when you have a look at them injectors, you're going to get your high resistance, and it's this Transit that's doing it. Have a look at your windscreen. I want you'll have to put your bonnet down first and wash your windscreen. and see where the water goes. I think you're going to find that it's dripping down straight onto there. You leave it for 3 months, it gets that and you'll start it up, it'll destroy every time. That's for transit. Some of vehicles are doing it now, this stupid system as well. So this, well, that, check your rubbers on your on these connectors where you push them in. You might find that the rubber's fallen off when you've been doing the job, but that won't protect it from this. Good cheat on these, a plastic cover all over every injector. You put a plastic cover over it, any rain or anything that drips through onto it just goes down the side of the engine. It's a design fault. We've found the fault and that's what it'll do, and that'll probably be the one that Davo's had and he's having this problem with. Obviously, your customer's not very happy. He has new ones, 6 months later, new ones. Look for them tide lines, look at it, explain to the customer what's been happening, and then it's not your vehicle, it's the customer's. And see what you can do with the drains. Yeah, we'll take another, I think we've got time for another question, I think, okay? What questions have we got? That's that. Mick has got, I'm only taking questions that I know about. I'm not taking any ones that I don't know about. So we've got a Chevy Silverado 6.6. I'm down with that. Put V8. I'm sure it'll be a V8. No, just put a V8. So this is a V8 Isuzu in a Chevy. There'll be an import. It looks a bit like an F truck, but it's a GMC one. I know the diehards will crucify me for saying that. So let's switch. So we've got one of these. Solenoid type injector. Yeah, really hard wearing. Difference about that one, it's got a different part number on the top. All these are 0445 110. Yours is 120, and that means it's commercial. Just means it costs more. So, yeah, I think that would be that. So what he's doing this one, we're driving the case, starts up fine, we drive it, then all of a sudden, bang, knocks the cylinders off, and then brings up an injector fault for four injectors. Yeah. What it's doing, because the wires on the injectors, normally what we've got, you just colour it in. So this is your 4 injectors. 4 injectors. It's a V8, this. So what a lot of these do, they split the power supply to the injectors. So if you've got an 8-cylinder, you'll probably have 4 of them with the same feed, 4 of them with the same feed. If we get a short on one of them, it'll knock the other 4 out. So if we're down to a 4-cylinder, we'll probably have 2 and a 2. So what's happening with that one? It's shorting. I think it's shorting one of these injectors out. So how are we going to fix this? And you were driving down the road, it'll do it, and then turn it off, leave it for half an hour, and we're back on. What you need to do is go and do that, and then get your watch out and see how long it is before it starts again and starts right. Keep trying it, and then you'll have your test time. So if you have 8 minutes test time, in that 8 minutes, you need to pull your sockets off, and you need to work out which 4 cylinders are on that bank. Yeah, normally, the wire that's feeding the power into all 4 is the same colour. So it might be on different sides of the engine, but they'll be the same colour. So let's just ask, how can we use, will they not all inject together? No. The earth is different on every injector. So you get power to them all, but it's not using any power until that cylinder wants to fire, and then suddenly it'll bring an earth to that injector. Just sort that out, you're good with that now, mate. So what we're going to do, as soon as that vehicle stops, you know you've got 8 minutes before it starts right again. Won't change much that, it'll only go a little bit smaller if it's been a constant problem. So in that 8 minutes, you need to get out of your vehicle, have everything ready to release these plugs, pull the plugs off, put your test thing in on the wires, bang, bang, and you need to test every one of them. If you haven't got the 100 volt meter, you need to do it with resistance, cross them both, that one to the body, that one to the body, on all 4 injectors. Then if this is the problem, you will see one of them totally out. Yeah? So we see it totally out. How do we know we've fixed it? Sometimes I like to double check it. So what we'll do, we'll take an injector that's failed on a washer before with me. Yeah? And then I'll drive it again till it fails again, and then I'll just pull that lead off, put that injector just sat there doing nothing on the loom and start it up. Suddenly I'll have 7 cylinders now, so I'll have it a little bit rough but nothing like when it was running on 4. And then if it consistently runs at that for 10-15 minutes, I know then the injector's at fault. Yeah, if one of them's going to that and it's not water contamination, you can guarantee will fail with that issue. There is an issue with the piezo ones, which are not them. So where's the piezo one gone? That one, nah, that one. These ones, they do exactly the same as that, and the V8 one as well. Get it really warm, it'll fail. Customer will bring it into your workshop, not going to fail. Yeah, you need to ask the customer when this happens, how long do you drive it for, what conditions, get all your gear ready. You need to drive that car for that amount of time. So if the customer comes in and says they have to drive it for an hour and a half and then it starts doing it, well, he needs to be told it's an hour and a half, 2 hours labour straight away, because that's how long. You're not going to find it unless you do that. Don't take the injectors and send them down to me. Yeah. And because I put them on my machine, it's in a cool environment. I have to get them up to the 40 degrees, but I know of testing these injectors, we won't see it. If it's a long hour and a half, 2 hours, then it starts doing it. You need to do that yourself. Get all your test machine ready, test it. Yeah. We've got, we've got time for one more question here before you want to close. Somebody has not been listening today. John has got an eye lobe that's white smoking since he put the washers in. John, get yourself a ruler, put it across the injectors. I think you've left one washer in. Yeah, the badly carboned door. Yeah, get yourself your rule, put it across them. The eye load, which is the eye load one? Let's have a look. It's very similar to this. And then, John, I want you to look for the wear mark on there. Actually, it's down here on the eye load. Yeah. And it wasn't smoking. It wasn't smoking when it came, only when it went out. So I think you put the wrong. Did you get the washers off me, John? Wait till the answer to that. Check for this thing here. Yeah. Make sure all your washers are out. It'll run all right. It'll sound all right. Close your eyes. It sounds fine. Just the smoke. No, he got them out of a kit, out of something else. John, change the washers, mate. Ring me up, get the correct washers for it. He just said he got them out of a gasket kit for something else. They look the same. Fair point, John. They look the same. It's probably 0.4, 0.6 mil. It's lifted on your eye load. It's lifted it to this one. It's dripping in. Amazingly, you close your eyes and it might have a little mist to it, but it sounds all right. It's just the amount of smoke that's in your workshop. Yeah, eye load, I think eye load on it, measure your washer, 1.9 mil will be very close to it on them eye loads. Measure, you probably put one in out of a sanding that's 3 mil or 2.5 mil or something. Thanks a lot for watching. Katie will finish off, guys. I'm hoping to have some more videos out in the near future. We'll let you all know. Thanks a lot for watching all 4. Thank you.
Awesome. So as most of you already know, this is our final webinar that we'll be doing. Although if you have missed any in the last 3 weeks before this week, all of the recordings have been uploaded to the website. You can find it in the training tab. Otherwise, we'd just like to thank you for supporting us, and if you do have any further questions, feel free to either give us a call or flick us an email and we can have a chat to you that way. Otherwise, thank you.